My fourth ceremony falls on May 26, 2015. When the ceremony begins, there's this golden river that opens up inside the Maloka. It goes from the outside into the inside, and it goes into this waterfall. Cascades into a waterfall right in front of me. And in front of this waterfall, there are all these golden goblets underneath it, and they're all collecting this golden water. And Ayahuasca tells me, she goes, this is the elixir of life. This is the alchemical elixir of life for immortality. She goes, go ahead and take a drink. And of all things, I actually refused. I said, nah, I'm not thirsty. I am a person who likes to believe that no matter what, you can, refuse whatever visions or messages you're getting. And if they are still true afterwards, they'll show up in another ceremony. So I've never been worried about things that I have or haven't accepted or rejected in ceremonies. I think sometimes people get really, really precious about, ayahuasca showed me I was this in a past life, but it made me this, or, it gave me this. And it becomes this form of coveting, and I don't want to be somebody that covets. So I figured that I just refused it as kind of a test, but also I just realized that if it's really there and I'm really worthy or whatever, it'll show up in another ceremony, and I'll get another chance to drink it. So I kind of was just like, nah, I'll just pass for now. Underneath those golden goblets, I saw these like golden hexagonal shaped tiles. It was like a floor of tiles that the golden goblets were sitting on. And then underneath that was this infinite regression of these golden hexagonal tiles, like just went to like infinity beneath me. It's kind of like looking, and it was just going down and down and down. And as I was looking down, I saw this giant black, wormhole right underneath me, and it had a question mark on it. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck it was doing. I was wondering if it was asking me if I wanted to jump inside the wormhole or not. And part of me just intuitively felt like, I was like, I don't want to leave the ceremony. I, at that time, was still feeling like it was necessary for me to practice collapsing the space of this, multiverse into like a singularity. So that was what went on for the first maybe half an hour of my ceremony, and then it just went black. It went black for like 2 hours or something like that, which I thought was kind of odd. And I had this really intense set of visions in the first half hour, and then they just went away, and it was just like blank for another 2 hours. And then what happens is, at least in our ceremonies, the shaman will call each person up individually and perform what's called a limpieza, which means he's singing an individual blessing over you. Doing specific work on you, psychic surgery, energy work, whatever you want to call it, specific to you right in front of him. And at that moment, my girlfriend was called up. He starts singing an icro. It was, ironically of all things, an icro about amor. So he sings, he goes, amor, 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 amor. And as he's singing this, the fucking multiverse shows up of all things then for me. And I was like, okay, there it is again. So let me collapse it. And I started thinking, as I'm seeing this multiverse appear and as I'm collapsing it, a fucking angel flies in through all those multiverses as one single coherent angel throughout all of them. While, he's singing, while I'm collapsing multiverse, I see a goddamn angel fly right through all of that as just a single coherent angel. My girlfriend. So I go up for my blessing. I get my individual blessing, and as I sit down, I find myself in a different psychic space, because sometimes when you just kind of get up and physically do something, you'll change the space that you're in. And I found myself like wandering some hallway, and I didn't know how I was wandering a hallway. I turn a corner and I see this fucking throne made of solid gold. And on this throne is also like a scepter and a headdress. And the throne itself has these characters on him, like written all across them. And it, for something in me, instinctively recognized it as Egyptian. And I knew instinctively that I was in basically like a king's chamber or a pharaoh's chamber inside a pyramid. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Because I figured that no good could ever come about being inside, you know, a pharaoh's chamber or a king's chamber inside a pyramid. So I didn't like where I was, and I just tried to leave. So I go, I'm out of here. As I was like turning to walk away, ayahuasca says, too late, and it grabs me and it just puts me in the chair. As it puts me in the chair, all of a sudden I'm sitting on top of a pyramid, and I am staring over the entire Nile Valley. And I realize that there's like, I'm looking over the Nile Valley and there are thousands of people staring at me as like, I'm sitting in this throne with this scepter in my hand with a, you know, headdress being put on my head. And I just realized I'm so fucked right now. There's no way around this. So while I'm on top of this pyramid, sitting on a golden throne, having this coronation while I'm overlooking like the Nile Valley, ayahuasca says to me, as basically I'm thinking I'm totally screwed, she goes, go sit inside a pyramid and see what happens. She didn't give me any details. She just said, go sit inside a pyramid and see what happens. After a while, the coronation ends, and I notice in the background that there's this sound, this buzzing sound. It sounds like a combination of a drill bit and a jackhammer. It's going zzz, dum, 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 like those two sounds combine. And it's going on like constantly. The thing I didn't realize at the time, because I was in the middle of the jungle and I didn't have any way to look this up, but I found out later from some research I just stumbled upon through like serendipity and synchronicity, was that when your pineal gland is actually activated, it sounds like kind of like it's got a machine sound to it. I didn't know what it was at the time, and at the time what I asked ayahuasca what it was, and ayahuasca tells me that is the sound of the universe encoding dynamically everything that's happening to it as it's happening. It's like the data stream by which the universe is, you know, collecting information. It is essentially a radio signal from God. I go to the bathroom and I take a shit, and I realize while I'm taking a shit, I go, what's going on is that it's encrypted, isn't it? They're like, yes. I said, that those noises that it's making is some kind of signal-based system to encrypt the information. They're like, yes. I go, in time, somehow you show the prophets how to decrypt that information. He's like, yes. I go, well, I learned. She goes, in time. Then I ask it, I go, where is the signal coming from? She goes, you'll learn in time. So when she said in time, like, I'll learn that in time, when she just said in time for any of those things, I realized, I was like, okay, it's a real ambiguous term, so I was just wondering, you know, does that mean, is it a month, or is it a week, or I just thought it was in some future time, not immediate, but as I pulled my pants up after going to the bathroom, I realized where the signal was coming from. Just as I pulled it up, I just realized in my head pops the word serious, and I realized that this is what is associated with so many of these advanced civilizations. So if you look up a lot of like kind of occult history about like certain advanced civilizations like Egypt, there's a lot of affiliation with the Sirius star system. And what the Sirius star system is the binary star. It's two stars that are kind of like in their gravitational pull, and they're rotating around each other. One of the stars, like, you can't see because it's behind the other one. So it's not visible to the naked eye, but some of these civilizations knew that it was a binary star. Specifically, there's a tribe in Africa called the Dogon tribe that knew about this specific star, that it was a binary star. And they said that there were visitors from this star system that kind of taught them, like, came to Earth and taught them a number of things that made their civilization kind of advanced their civilization. So I realized that it was some kind of signal from the Sirius star system that was the universe encoding itself dynamically of every change that was happening to it. So it was like a radio signal from the universe of every change that was being made to it as it was happening. And for some reason, it's associated with the Sirius star system. I had a couple of theories myself about, like, what that meant, but I just know, you know, people know in general with ayahuasca that there's certain ambiguities it'll give, so I don't want to go into my theories, but I just know that I heard this signal. It told me it was, you know, essentially a radio signal from God, and that it was originating from the Sirius star system. Whether or not that coincides with the other mythologies around the Sirius star system is another thing entirely. I just know those are the pieces of information that I was given.